Good evening, everyone. I hope my voice is audible. Yeah, all of you should be able to chat right now. We've enabled the chat option for all. Quick yes or good evening would do. Let me just drop a message. Yeah, hope you're able to see my text. Okay. Yeah, great. Good to see the responses already. Good evening, Mr. Ujwal, Mr. Kiran, Nagabhushna, Ms. Sakshi, Mr. Kamal. Very good evening. Sanchita Das, good evening, ma'am. Mr. Mahesh, very good evening. Good evening, Mr. Solepan. Yeah, Miss Kajal, good evening. I hope you are able to hear me now. Good evening, Miss Bharti. Okay, so we're going to start off very shortly. We're just waiting for some more of the audience to join in. So in the meantime, let's have a quick conversation on chat. Obviously, all of you are aware of the topic that we are going to discuss today, and what we have uh, in funnel, that is, it is employer-employee relationships, and the trend, or you could say, what is it that is possibly in this field in 2024 is something that we're going to discuss. Now, with the audience that we have here with us right now, I'd like to know what is it that you are expecting to hear from us today, and what are the possible things that you would also want to discuss today is something that I like to know. So, I request all of you to use the chat in the meantime and put down your pointers, and we will surely take that up as the session goes forward. Good evening, Mr. Sharad. A few responses. Ms. Sakshi has mentioned, how do you make quick decisions for tricky situations related to employees as well as the company? Okay. So I think tricky situations, we have not defined specifically here. It could be a bunch of it, I believe. Anyway, we'll take that up as the session goes forward. All right, we have a few more that are joining. Let's just wait a little longer. Miss Vanishri, yeah, I hope you're able to hear us. We're yet to begin. We're just waiting for a couple more minutes before we start off. Miss Fiona, I hope you're able to hear us. We've not started yet. Okay, all right. Yeah, so just circling back to what I had asked earlier in the chat, I just want to know that what is it that you're expecting from today's session? While we already have something that is already planned for today's session, we'd like to hear what are the possible things that you are expecting to hear from today's session, and we'd also like to know if we'll be able to address that. If it is not part of this, we will surely be able to address it as the session goes forward. Yeah. Ms. Vanishri, this is a webinar module that we have. So it is not a standard Zoom meeting. So that most of you will be on mute and you will not have the option. But if you have any queries there is, please put it on Q&A or chat. Aside that, if you still have any queries, we'll definitely be able to unmute you and you will be able to interact with our speaker. So I will give you that. As we in fact have a dedicated Q&A session as the session goes forward. So you will be able to interact if there's anything. Okay, we have a response from Mr. Kiran. I would like to know different workplace dynamics and how one should behave or act in different situations. Yeah, that is definitely a question that's aligned to our topic today. I believe that is in store for us today. All right. Thank you all for your patience. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Kiran. All right. Okay. Very good evening to all once again. Thank you all for your patience. We will get going. I'm sure we have a few more audience who will be start joining us as the session goes forward. Let me introduce myself. I am Siddharth Nandakumar. I handle the product marketing side of things for the company that I represent, that is Websol, and I will be a moderator for the day. So let us go forward. Now, before we actually head into the topic of the day and I hand it over to the speaker, uh, Ms. Navina, who is actually backstage with us right now. I would like to run you through a quick, short company introduction, just to give you an idea of the company that I represent and what we have in line with the HR department and other departments and so on. What are the things that we have on offer is something that I'd like to quickly brief all of you about. Now, this is a quick evolution timeline of our company that you can see. We were, in fact, part of Wipro back in the days, that is 1988. We were the domestic IT business sector, wherein we were taking care of the printer peripherals manufacturing division. Now, when I mean printer peripherals, these are components that are core to a printer's functioning. For example, your toners, cartridges, and we were also known for the DMPs, that is dot matrix printers, which may not be very popular at the moment, but these things were booming at one point, and Wipro's domestic, that is the printer manufacturing division, that is us, we were known for this. Now, over the years, the company decided that this would be better if the division comes out of Wipro itself and forms a separate company in itself, and that happened in 2000 and came out to be Wipro e-Peripherals, which later on moved to a rather abbreviated name, that is Web Solutions. Now, the printer peripherals manufacturing that continued, and that also became managed print services. More on that as we move forward. But with demanding market evolution and changes happening with the trends, the company decided to also bring in digital workplace solutions. More on that as we move forward. And fast forward, I would like to mention something rather significant. In 2023, we underwent a complete brand refresh. in order to again align to the market trends. And today we are known by the name of Websol. We also have a completely refreshed product portfolio. More on that as we move forward. And I would like to give you a short brief on that as well. Some quick highlights of our company. We come with over 24 years of industry expertise. There are close to 570 enterprise customers. We also have presence on the retail end, and the customers are present on that end as well. We're present in over 2,500 locations in India, and a quick view of some of our core customers, as you can see. Okay, I see some of them have already mentioned some comments on the chat and Q&A. Please keep it coming. We will keep a track of them and take it up as the session goes forward. Moving to the next slide. All right, now this is our company portfolio. This is FluidWorks. This is we go by the name of FluidWorks. In simple terms, I'm sure all of you know what is fluid, right? It flows. So our solution, our portfolio, basically, we tailor and we offer a scalable solution for the customer, that is the end user. And under the FluidWorks, we have an umbrella of offerings, which again go by the name of Fluid. And I will explain to you what these mean as well. Moving to the next slide. Now, as I mentioned, under FluidWorks, we have an umbrella of offerings unique to specific departments, or it could be inter-department as well, and it is cross-functional. Now, what is Fluid Pro? This is our state-of-the-art managed IT services. What we offer here is your IT infrastructure in simple terms. Aside this, we also offer a 24/7 NOC support in order to take care of all your IT assets and IT hardware remotely. And this is what we take care on the Fluid Pro end. Now moving to Fluid Print, this is our managed print services offering. Now, as I mentioned, this is our signature offering. Now, what we do here is basically we offer printers on a rental basis without a CapEx or OpEx option. Now, what we do here is, you might also ask me, how is it that we charge you, right? Ultimately, you would like to know that. We charge you on a pay per print basis. That is the number of papers you print on a periodic, that it could be a month, it could be a quarter or an annual basis. We charge you on that. So that is managed print services for you. Now, what is Fluid Map? Now, in lines with Fluid Pro and Fluid Print, you have n number of IT assets, right? It could be Wi-Fi access points, your servers, and you also have a number of printers that are deployed in different locations across the country. How do you manage this, right? This is a very significant question that comes up. This is where Fluid Map comes into picture. This is our IT asset management tool, which is deployed in your network. With this, you will be able to track uptime, downtime, and the amount of let's say the toner levels, your cartridge levels, will it require any sort of replacement? All of this is taken care by Fluid Map. Lastly, we have Fluid Trail. Now, this might interest the audience that we have here with us today. This is our process automation solution. While this solution obviously takes care of process automation for different departments, I would like to specifically talk about one, that is employee records management and in general HR automation. So when I mean HR automation, we take care of specific areas. For example, your candidate onboarding, candidate offboarding, your appraisal management, performance management, and something rather generic is our records management. I'm sure most of you might already have a records management solution in place, but what we also do is we take care of digitization. Some of you might already have a solution, but there might also be hybrid model, right? You might be storing records physically as well as in your local storage. So this is something that we take care of. We will unify the solution for you and give you a cloud storage option. Aside this, I will not cover the rest of the solutions that we have. We are also present on the retail end, and we also have a dedicated GST automation solution. So that's it on the company introduction end. Now, this presentation will solely be the topic-oriented presentation only, and we will not have a demo as such, but I would like to quickly launch a poll for the audience present here with me today to find out if there is anyone who would be interested to see a solution, a demo of our solution, that is Fluid Trail. Please note that we will be able to give you an entirely free demo of the solution, and based on the requirement that you have, we'll be able to tweak our demo for you. Those of you who are interested, you can select the options below. I will leave this poll on for the next 1 minute. Okay, thank you. Let me end the poll. All right, moving forward. Okay, without any further ado, let me introduce the speaker for the day, Ms. Navina Joy. A quick introduction about her. Ms. Navina Joy brings in over 15 years of experience extending to strategic HR, organizational culture building, policy making, and planning as her areas of expertise. Having held roles as HR manager in the past in various industry verticals and at present the AGM HR at Superon Swiss Technique India, her experience adds immense value to those aspiring to make a difference in the HR and leadership field. This is, in fact, our, if I'm right, this might be our seventh or eighth webinar with our speaker. I might probably lose the, the track sooner or later. So I take great pleasure in introducing her on yet another webinar with us. And I'm sure the audience is looking forward to directly hearing from you, ma'am. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening to all. You need to help me with the video.
Oh, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
Yeah.
Let me give you that. Hold on. Yeah, you should be able to share your video.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes. I hope that I am visible and audible both to the audience. And yes, I also am very much, losing the count how much I have spoken over here in this forum. And for me, Siddharth and I have a relationship of a few months. And within these few months, we have got into a huge round of presentations and discussions in terms of HR. So his field and my field maybe into the same field. That's why we have been together. So, moving on to the topic first. See, the topic is a very interesting topic, and I was very surprised and happy at the same time to actually read out few questions during the registration part. And I was happy that all these years of my experience in the same field in terms of holding the designation of ER or a strategic or leadership in the Department of HR. I have been managing all these questions. And just to, guide or give you an insight, I have almost trained and guided, almost 40 to 50 HR executives. And these people or these HR executives are in all over Pan India, and they have been working under me, and they have been having a very successful career. So what I am actually, which I actually want you to expect out of this webinar is that don't expect, and I always continuously tell this is don't expect that there will be certain kind of direct answers. Why there will be no direct answers is that because there is no direct answer. And because if you tell me that ask me that what are the practices or what are the initiatives and what should be done, so there is no answer to it, there is no specific answer to it. I always say, and I will continue to say, that with my experience of 15 years, that every situation and every organization has their own set of answers. And if I say that today I am following certain kind of practices or certain kind of examples, that cannot be necessarily followed in different organization. It is just with the practices that you need to find out. And basically, as an HR person, now you guys, everybody, have kind of an experience right now that what will be the situation and how can be the solution. So today the webinar will be mostly focusing on three things. And one thing is, yes, of course, these will be the agenda, the understanding, the strategies, and the practical approaches. But what your focus should be, basically what, why, and how. Okay. And I want everybody to focus and keep these three things in your mind whenever you are handling any kind of a situation. So whether it is a webinar or, whether it is a conflict, whether it is any kind of situations or any kind of organizational behavior changes, anything, these three things have to be managed. So today we will only focus on these three things: what, how, and why. And basically, this is the most important thing. Okay. Now, to start with, when we talk about an organizational culture, okay. Now, why I have pasted this kind of a program, okay, which is like the Great Indian Resignation. Now, when we talk about resignation, we focus more on why these resignations are happening. Okay, because we don't focus on why any company is into attrition or why the attrition rate is more on anything, because something which is like the rate of attrition will be there, and this is a fact. And maybe people are moving for their own good, maybe people are moving for the organization's good, but what is out of concern is why these resignations are happening. And why it is very, very important is because the reason of resignations or reasons of conflict is nothing but the organizational culture. Okay. So when you see, when, of course, salary is also a reason. Okay. But that is very basic, very, very basic. So I'll come to that, Kajal, and I will talk about it also. And so, yes, so I was talking about that, of course, these reasons are there. And the reasons are supposed to be the, point of, understanding and how to handle certain situations. Because certain reasons that we talk about, that is the first part, whether it is toxic bosses or the toxic workplaces, or for that matter, a compensation or any kind of a backgroundal change or anything that is coming up. So these discussions are not, discussed. Okay, these are not verbally discussed, or these are not discussed directly. And at the same time, when we are not discussing it directly, so we generally lose out on employees, or probably an employee is losing out the core competency of an organization. So let's focus on what exactly is an organizational culture. Okay, so when I'm talking about organizational culture, so before any kind of organization is built, okay, before even we set up any kind of a mission or a vision statement or goals of the organization, the first, setting up is nothing but organizing kind of culture to the organization. So it is very, very important to build the culture. Now, from where does the organization culture comes in? Obviously, it comes from the top. It comes from the leadership. It comes from the management. So it is very, very important that it flows down to the last level. So whatever the management, whatever the leaders, whatever the leadership at that level is facing, the kind of culture is flowed down till the last level. So there is no breakage. So if there is any kind of a breakage in between, then there is a gap, and that gap has to be fulfilled. So we need to find out. So any kind of first blink or first insight that we see is nothing but what is the management or the leadership culture that is followed. Now, we again, when I say that we all face any kind of a resignation in any kind of the organization, okay, while the individual reasons can vary from the compensation, salary, incentives, all the money matters will be there. But to your surprise and my surprise, in this time, in this culture, maybe it is more of like after the COVID period, the more of, this is very, very clear that it is only because that the term known as employee value proposition, okay, that has to be managed and that has to be built. And what is it? So that is why the organizations are taking all their levels to actually attract and retain all the employees. Now, when we talk about retaining and attracting all the employees, so that's where the HR role is now being very, very important, because these roles or these designations are getting more important. That incline, yes, of course, they are towards working towards this kind of a culture. So that is why it is very, very important. Now, Siddharth, can you just change the slide? Yeah. Next slide. Yes. So I was talking about the employee value proposition. Now, when this employee value proposition is built and maintained, there is a very, very strong workforce. And this is a beneficial for all the organization to actually any kind of building the skills, building the growth, building any kind of retainment, and obviously to actually attract more and more employees. Now, again, my last point is to Kajal, I guess, who had mentioned compensation, because we can argue that compensation is the most critical factor, but the elements of employee value proposition have become increasingly valuable to employees, because now we have online, offline, work-life balance, and then the culture, the opportunities, the advancement, the how, what is the growth, and what is the culture, how much the company is giving their best to the employees. All these factors are also taken care. And this is a very, very much important, because and these are the things that any company is actually, or probably any employee is looking at. And to your surprise, every organization, if you see, are looking at such kind of employees who are taking this, the work-life balance, or probably the kind of understanding also, like, when they are talking about the families, when they are talking about the growth, when they are talking about career path, all these things within the organization, because in this way they consider that everything is very balanced, or very the employee is actually more focused towards it, right? Now, what is basically the organizational culture? Next slide, Siddharth. So basically, the organization culture defines nothing but the company's values and the experiences what the leadership or the management has. So these are the set of rules and regulations. Now, when I'm saying that set of rules and regulations, again, these are the rules, or these are the experiences which the leaders or the management of any organization has created a trust within themselves, and they want to create that trust within the employees at the last level. Now, what does it mean? Like when I say monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do is like whatever the leaders are doing, or whatever the leaders want the employees to do. First of all, they need to practice themselves. So if I am called as an AGM HR, and I want certain policies, or want certain rules to be followed, or culture to be followed, first of all, I need to follow that kind of a path. Then only people or employees will be able to follow it. Will they? Because people generally, they don't understand the verbal understanding, but they will also definitely understand the action and the practical part of it. When it is practically seen, when it is practically visible, then obviously these things are followed. So in a very big culture, the positive culture, when we talk about big companies, and when we name them, that all the managers of any of the organizations, or leaders of the organizations, are following certain path of rules and regulations or culture, it is because that they are seeing somewhere or the other their leaders also following it. So it is very important, the top management or the leaders or any kind of heads, to follow certain kinds of policies and rules and regulations. Now, to actually favor any kind of positive environment, or good environment in the organization, that obviously the new employees get attracted towards them. And when they see the existing employees also happy, and they are having the positive feedback, and they are giving out a positivity around, obviously these new employees will come in. So all this is aligned towards the organizational culture itself. Now, to actually give it a wholesome view, what the leaders need to should avoid. So first thing is, first and foremost, which is visible everywhere, which is actually very, very toxic. Okay, the first reason of resignation might be that, toxic bosses. Now, every boss, okay, like any person or any employee, if they say the company is very good and I have got the best opportunity, best growth, best career, but somewhere or the other, my boss is not good, my manager is not good. Now, why this is so? Because these leaders or managers are actually having or they are creating small organization or small cultures within themselves. And this is very, very dangerous, okay, because there are certain rules, there are certain policies, there are certain regulations, but if the managers or the leaders, they have their own set of rules, they have their own set of problems, and when they have set of their own policies, then it becomes a conflict, it becomes a conflict within the organization, and it's a bad name for the organization itself. So as an HR point of view, first we need to identify who or what are these kind of culture, who are these managers or what kind of a culture, and how can we identify? We can discuss it later in the later part of the presentations. Okay. Second thing is uh, the glass ceiling phenomena. Okay, now what is a glass ceiling phenomena? Like there are a lot of, which is somehow, somewhere or the other, it has somewhere slowed down, but it is very challenging. Maybe in certain areas or certain department, it's have lowered down, but there it still exists. This is nothing but the unfair attitude. So the basically that the manager is not telling or giving or guiding their team people because they think that they have the kind of insecurity that whether my team will grow more than me. But somewhere the culture again, there is a two chicken and egg story over here. Why it is so? Because if the manager is doing so, somewhere he has an insecurity towards the organization, that the organization is giving not giving such kind of a opportunity to the manager, or at the same time it is also followed in that sense to the employees. The employee need to grow, at the same time the manager needs to go, and third is the organization also needs to grow together. But if there is a conflict between organization and the manager and the employee, then the whole culture is lost. Okay, so we need to focus on that. So giving appraisal, promotion, or any kind of appraisals or any kind of praise or anything, it is not harmful at all. It is the benefit of any person. So whether it is a manager, employee, or an organization, it should be part of the organizational culture itself. Okay. Now let's go down to what exactly is the relationship between employer and employee. Now when we talk about an employer, it is nothing but organization, and it is also nothing but it is organizational culture. That is why I started with the organizational culture, what exactly it is. Now employer is nothing but organizational culture, and employee is nothing but the employee is basically a person who is looking at an opportunity, or he's looking at some kind of a growth. Okay, he wants to change, he wants to do good. So that please keep in mind when these things are talked or actually discussed. So it is very, very important. Now what is the importance, or what is the role of any kind of an employee relation is? It is nothing but it is actually maintaining a positive environment, maintaining a respectful environment, maintaining a harmonious environment. So what all it takes to create that? First and foremost, and it is at a very, very basic level, the employee relation has several aspects, okay, which includes contractual relations, practical relations, physical aspects, and emotional aspects. Now, these are basically four aspects or relations that it is at the ground level. Now let's discuss and let's have a go through what exactly it or all these four things are. Now contractual relation is nothing but the paperwork. Okay, what is the paperwork like during the interview time, during the induction time, during all has been discussed? Whatever has been discussed should be on papers. Okay, there should nothing be discussed which is not on papers. So what are the working hours? What is the salary? What are the job opportunities? What will be the contractual agreement? Anything that is there that is has been discussed has to be contractual, and it has to be practically defined. Anything which is not defined on the papers, and if you discuss again, it is a conflict. It will be a conflict on the first day itself, and it will come. It will come again and again and again and again. The first impression goes wrong, right? Second is the practical relations. It involves nothing but any kind of, if any department, if you talk about, or any role that you talk about, it cannot be vacant, or it cannot be left, worked upon. So there has to be somebody who is working on that department or who's working on that role. So it is nothing but the dynamics of the all the workers or the employees over there. So there has to be rotational. Okay, so if there is somebody on leave, no, now one department to the another department, we cannot say the person is on leave, so the work is on hold. Or it again, the person is on leave, now the office will not work. The boss is on leave, so the whole company is on leave. It's never like that. So every from top to bottom, every person will have their own role to play, and it has to be rotational if in the absence. Okay. Then comes the physical aspects. Now, physical aspects is very, very important again, which is like we need to find out how safe and healthy the working condition is, how positive, how harmonious, how growth oriented, how respectful, how colleague oriented or peer oriented, and how challenging. Everything is there in the organization. If these aspects are not clear, there will be certain conflicts, and every time the culture will downfall. Okay, then comes the emotional aspects, which is again a very, very big factor. And usually any kind of group, employee groups, if they are talking, they will be talking about the emotional aspects itself. We as an HR, we term it as emotional aspect. Okay, but what they are talking about is, they're talking about the job, how dissatisfied they are with some work, or how dissatisfied they are with their job satisfaction, and kind of they are not having that kind of a cordial relation with their leaders or managers or HODs or business heads, or probably any kind of a colleague. So it covers nothing, but it's a morality. It actually covers the employees morale of any kind of harmonious environment that it can create. Now, what is the HR's role over here? The HR's role is nothing but to maintain these aspects as a priority. And that is why ER is very crucial. So employee relation and an ER as a whole is nothing to create all these aspects to be positive towards the employer. Okay. Now, when we talk about the challenges, next slide, Siddharth. So when
Yeah.
we talk about the
So I'll have to intervene here, ma'am. So if you wouldn't mind, let me just quickly launch a poll. Since we also
Yes, sure.
spoke about, some of the positive points earlier, I would, on that lines, let me just launch a poll for the audience here. Yeah. So audience, I request all of you to look at your chat, and I have a link that's going to be pasted right away. Now, this is a live LinkedIn poll that's running on our company LinkedIn handle. I would request all of you to click on it and take about 10-15 seconds to quickly go ahead and answer that, and then we can get back to the slides. We also have a few more polls coming up, but that will be native to Zoom, so we'll have it internally. Now, let me just read out the question for the rest of them either way. Now, which factor do you believe contributes most to a positive employer-employee relationship? Now, there are 4 options here. Is it communication, trust, recognition and rewards, or is it work-life balance? You can select one of the 4 options, and we can get back to the webinar right after that. Okay, there's already about 14 votes. Okay. All right. Interesting. We have communication that is ranking high right now, followed by trust and then work-life balance. Nobody's regarded recognition and rewards, like they've completely dropped it off.
Yeah, that's a clearly an example that I have been talking about. So see, the dynamics have all changed. maybe because of the COVID working dynamics,
Right.
and because of the freedom that has been given to both organization and to the employees. So the aspects have already changed. Rewards recognition, if not from one company, from the other company will be provided. But what about the good communication with it from top to bottom? What about the kind of trust that is being built? If you don't have any trust between the employees or between colleagues or between manager or any of the employees, probably then there will be no kind of a culture that we can follow. So I am also with these points as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I think you can carry on with your presentation, ma'am. Over to you.
Yeah. So next slide. Okay, so when we talk about what are the challenges that we are facing when, if I talk about an employee relation, so challenges will be the workplace conflict. Okay, again, miscommunication. Now, workplace conflict can be anything, any small things. Trust me, it can from the smallest, tiniest thing to a biggest and to the largest thing. So workplace can conflict. Second is miscommunication, which we have already discussed. Then the workplace misconduct. Again, it can also be used as a trust value. Then we have low job satisfaction due to poor working conditions. Again, it is rolled down to organizational culture. Then unequal opportunities for career advancement, which is nothing but the growth in the company. Okay, now when I talk about all these conflicts, there is what does an ER has to do? Okay, what does an ER has to do in terms of the skills to avoid such challenges? First thing is active listening, very important. Okay, you might say, okay, I have seen like 90% of the people, they say that we listen, but there is no active listening to it. Half of the problem is solved when the employee is actually talking and an ER is listening. Okay, when you listen completely, you actually get a lot of answers, and that is the truth. So and then it had the respond has to be in a very empathetic way. Again, the 100% solution is there itself. Second thing is the effective communication. This avoids, which everybody I think is in line with that. Everybody, says that communication is required. So effective communication avoids misunderstanding by sharing information in a clear, accurate, and transparent way. Now, somewhere or the other, during when I was reading out the questions, there was a question which said that why doesn't the management or the top management people, they give out a clear communication, or why don't they give out any kind of a right information? Okay, but the answer to this is being working in the leadership area. So the right and the clear communication is a problem, but you cannot question the management that why the communication was not given, because at every level, okay, if you ask me that why this communication, a very top decision making communication is not told to an executive of any of the department, is only because it is not required at that situation or at that level. So the executive cannot question that. So there is a communication that has to be given at every level. It is not necessary that every communication has to be given at every level. So there's a difference to it. Okay, understand that difference. And then the third is the negotiation skills, which is it is very important for an ER to have the negotiation, because when we are listening to both the parties, okay, and we cannot favor one person. We need to favor the company's culture, and then we need to give the solution accordingly so that both of them are satisfied. So that is how the skills are developed, or these skills are to be actually maintained in the environment in an organization. Now, when I talk about 5 best practices of an ER, first and foremost, which I guide everybody, okay, you might get attracted towards this profile. You might get attracted towards the HR policies, this, that, everything. But do not take up your career or start your career in ER. definitely after certain experiences, you will get your all your knowledge and experience and everything, and then you can take up to that level of ER. But first practice that one must do as an HR is do not start the career. One must start the career being as an getting into the generalist profile. Okay, when you get into the generalist profile, you experience everything. When you experience everything, you get a knack of all these things. What are the practices, what are the policies, how it is, how things are. When you get to know about all these things, then choose your line. Okay, because in when I talk about in ER, it is all about handling emotions. It is all about handling certain kind of disciplines. So this takes a lot of effort. And how can we do that again when we talk about all these things is that we need to emphasize on listening skills, which cannot be brought in the first day of your career. It cannot be. It comes with practice itself. Second thing is when you mediating between a conflict between any kind of junior, peer, colleague, or anybody. Again, there has to be a certain kind of framework that you have to build. That also comes with experience, not in the beginning. Then first in the first year itself, you actually take up to understanding that how the company policies are. What are the company's policies? Now, if you are expected as an ER, a person is expected that you come learning this company policies and then start applying. It is not so. You need to have that kind of an experience. Then only the fair way of decisions can be taken. Then respecting each other's rights. Remember your first year in your first month of your career. Okay, and the first month of your career was nothing but is it like every time the question mark was why this person is not saying hi, why this person is not saying bye, or these small things are also taken care. Now with experience we get to know why certain people are behaving in a certain way. So that can obviously not be understood in the first year. So do not take up your career or start your career in this field in ER. Later, after like almost experiencing all the generalist profile, you can probably concentrate on that. Right? Then comes the second and important, invest in your employee. When I talk about investing in your employee, there is no show off. There is no casual understanding. The genuine care and recognition has to be very, very, genuine. It has to be very genuine. Because if you are smart, then the other person is also very smart. And always understand that. If there is any kind of show off, if there is any kind of thankless, care for the person, the other person will get, there will be never a trust that will be built. Okay, if there is any conflict, the role of an ER is nothing to actually, the employees are building that trust within you. So you cannot show off, right? Then there will be nobody in this, organization, but you as a person who can actually give out that small word of praise to anybody. You get all the information about the employees. But if there is anybody who is demotivated or not satisfied or anything, you'll get to know. So the praise of having that good work done, or probably or small things, it's a great appreciation towards the employee. Okay, when a person is actually feeling wanted, or a person is feeling that okay, I am required over here, almost 50 more than 50% of the employees are not even thinking of going. Maybe there will be out of the chart reason to shift, not the basic reasons to shift. We cannot ask people not to go, but we can actually stop the wrongdoings. That's the only thing, right? Then we need to actually concentrate and take initiatives such as well-being programs. This is on number one program. Okay. Now, why I'm saying on well-being programs is that these days, if you see that in terms of spirituality has taken a huge demand. Again, after COVID, probably the mental illness, the mental wellness, and the financial wellness, then there is a spirituality wellness. All this is taken care. So if there is any company which is not concentrating on this, it is again a red flag to it. We need to concentrate. So to start any organization which is a startup, it should start with giving uh, health insurance to the employees. Along with health insurance, there has to be health checkups. It again will promote people. Okay. Now, again, how then we can invest in employee is that we can actually help them in terms of building their skills. What can be the opportunities? So training and development is also another part. Identify, it's your role. So identify in each department, in each employee, what are the requirements. Again, it's a very big study. So if you actually take the organization as a whole, understand the vision of the organization, align this vision to each employee's vision or probably the skills and the knowledge. If there is any kind of a gap, initiate with the training and development. When these trainings are developed, the growth of the company and the growth of the employee is immense. It cannot be broken. So we need to invest in certain areas, and these are the areas. So there will be a mutual respect for both the parties, right? Which mutual respect, which actually leads to commitment, and that is the responsibility of an year. So your KR is also taken care. Okay. The third thing that we can do is build a positive culture. Now, when I'm talking about building a positive culture, it is, see, building a positive culture can be anything by, verbal, by being practical, anything. But at the same time, there are certain things that, it is very, very visible. And what is this? Yeah, you're being an empathetic. You first thing is that you need to have that kind of a work relationship with everybody, which is very, very empathetic. If that empathy is not there, then it is not, there's no point in even talking about anything. And that empathy has certain kind of strategies. What are the strategies? First is that concentrate on the compensation and benefits, right? So when we are talking about compensation, so every employee will be dissatisfied. Okay, why? Because the salary is low. Now, why this feeling comes in? Are they working very too much, or they are given certain work, or probably are they not aligned to what they were told as their KRA? So these are the disalignment with the compensation part. Now, when I say that there is a disalignment, so people are disaligned because of certain these aspects only. Because when we are deciding on the compensation, we are deciding actually taking care of what is there in the market. We need to decide if that structure is there. If we say that when a person comes on board, we give 20% hike, we need to be very strict that yes, we give 20% hike. But we ourselves are not giving that 20% hike, but we are giving 15% hike or 12% hike, and we are asking the person to do like double the work, then there will be a dissatisfaction. So that alignment has to be there, right? Second, and that compensation is the year. Earlier, there was a period when there was like financial year ending. So this is the time when their people are having that kind of appraisals or increments. But gone are the days. Because there are a lot of sectors and there are a lot of organizations which are actually looking at a compensation review during middle of the year as well. There cannot be a saying that these are the once in a year it will be there. When it comes to be a once in a year, it's an ancient time now, and we can. And again, it's a HR's role how to progress. And again, it cannot be the everything cannot be applied to all the organization, but the certain terms can be applied with the study. So do the research and study accordingly, and this thing has to be aligned with the vision of the company also. Okay. Now, in terms of financial, again, the last point is that the financial assistance for learning. Okay. So when we give that kind of a culture wherein the people are in terms of made clear understanding of in terms of, like I say, the mental wellness, the training is given, and then there was a meditation level is given, then there's a spirituality is given. But there are certain trainings that are given to financial assistance. If you have certain salary, if you have certain income, how can you invest? Where all you can invest, where all you can actually promote your income to any level. If you give this kind of a, understanding and learning to the employee, they are much more happy. So we introduced, so my department, HR department, we introduced this financial assistance last year, and it was a huge success. It was a huge success because the financial wellness is also very important, and the understanding of the satisfaction, whatever, because if I say what is the value that I should be getting, and how, if I get that valuation also, where I can invest that valuation is also very important. Otherwise it is only asking, and what to ask, how to ask, and for what is asked, that has to be guided with, right? So this is kind of an assistance that can be there. Then we have very important, which is these three things are very important, which is empower, encourage, and uplift. This should be focus area of at every level. It is very important to every leader to actually focus on these three things. How? Obviously to give any kind of a rewards and recognition. Within the team there has to be appreciations, and when I say the appreciations are there, internal conflicts will be removed, because the team will be one team. Okay. Then we have work anniversaries, which has to be celebrated, because it is not that the employee is happy being here, but the organization is also appreciating that the person has spent some time in the organization. Okay. Very important, a feedback culture has to be followed. When I say feedback culture, the feedback culture is that when you are open to listen, and open to change, and open to grow, and open to introduce new things and accept new things, so this feedback culture will follow in place. And when there is a feedback culture, there is nothing but a feedback is not taken negatively, but it is taken positively, because there is a lot of learning sessions that has to be there. So it is actually attached to the learning or the growth path, not any kind of a negative word. Okay. Then we have encouraged learning and providing assistance. Any kind of learning. So within the department, cross department, or any outside learning or anything, it is an added advantage. But you need to make sure whether that learning is for the organization or not. That has to be clearer, or that has to be managed. Okay. Then we have culture of thank you, verbal and in writing. It's a small gesture, small, very small gesture, that even if it is a small passing of the things, also just say thank you to it. That thank you culture makes a long appreciable understanding to create that positive environment. Okay. Then we have how to encourage employee engagement programs, because in your employee engagement programs has to be there. And these programs can be technologically and otherwise as well. Okay. Now, when I say, that it has to be monitored and it has to be prioritized, why it is here? Because it actually increases the growth of the employee as well as the company. And when the productivity increase, obviously they are more, the culture automatically changes. The relationship automatically changes, because they are treated as a family, and then they are working towards the same goal. And when the goals are same, the organization automatically grows, right? So first thing is to introduce technology for better HR practices. Okay. Now HR technology, again, you can actually take hold of WebSol for this. And because Siddharth has initiated with a lot of features and products that they have. So technology plays a very big role. When technology comes in, uh, the all the administration work is not burden enough. You can concentrate more on emotions than the administration part. Okay, you have information, you have employee management, you actually focus on real work than the administration part, that the technology can take care. Okay. Then we have also technologies like the employee portal, wherein these serves as HR related tasks. So like career GPS. Now what they do is like we can have all the conflicts and problems and issues being taken care, and the solution can be given there and then. Okay. Uh, okay. I got a question like, how can we give quick answers to any tricky situations? Okay. Now, these are three difficult words: quick, solution, and tricky. Okay. What do you understand by tricky, situations? Every situation is tricky. If you need an ER or an HR to answer that, then it is a tricky situation. So you need to be prepared with it. If there is any situation that has come to an HR, then that means it is tricky. Okay. If you are giving a quick decision, please do not give any quick decision. Because when you give any kind of a quick decision, that means that the conflict is not taken seriously. Or any two individuals who are talking about their issues are, they are not being heard. When I talk about active listening, you need to hear both the parties, analyze it, and then they talk. You need to take time to actually give solution. Then the parties are also calmed down. You are also calmed down, and you analyze and give out. Quick decisions and quick answers are given when you have the policy and somebody is asking about the policy. They are not seeking for a solution, right? So understand the difference or understand the gap, right? I hope the answer, you are able to understand. Okay, coming back to the point, when we have technologies, introduced technologies, it will be better to work. Second thing is wellness programs are there. Now, wellness programs will help to concentrate as a holistic concentration is there, where health and wellness and any kind of growth is also taken care. Then we have medical insurance policy, and medical insurance policy, uh, you know, as I said that it's not just about giving the policy or giving the insurance. It is also about giving regular health checkups and, engagement towards it. Then we have assistance to financial wellness as a tool. These programs has to be taken care. Now, where we in my company we introduced long-term equity and guidance to the investments. Again, it can be helpful in creating that kind of a wealth and actually helping them to give that guidance. Again, next point is the spirituality part of it. Engaging towards spirituality, which definitely gives confidence and belief, because we never know that what a person is going through in their, personal background. We do not want to get into it. Please, HRs, do not get into any kind of personal background, because there is a lot of conflicts towards it. Do not try to solve their personal life, but you can help towards, make building up these kind of opportunities and making these opportunities into a confident building and belief centric thing. It will be mediation between good work and good person. Okay, then we can introduce with fun activities and celebration. That definitely I hope that every HR at in every organization is followed. Definitely any kind of CSR or social activities which can be helpful also. Okay. Now, when we talk about the sense of belonging and inclusion, again, this is very, very important. Okay. Siddharth, next slide. When I talk about sense of belonging and inclusion, see, there are two major things that any employee is looking at. And as an organization, these are the two things. One is the humanness part of it, and the other part is the courage part of it. Okay. Now, these four bars or the chart is getting divided into four things, which is nothing but how these employees are categorized into these four parts. And you need to, as an HR person, you are responsible to identify certain these people. Okay, let's go with first and foremost, which is high courage and low humanness. Who are these people? Okay, it is very simple. Agitators confident and competent, but they lack connection. That empathy is not there. Aggressive is there, but that empathy is not there. So you'll find a few people in the organization who is boastful, who is very aggressive, who considers themselves as, people who will be very loud, but they will not stop themselves to actually pull people down also. They lack empathy. Okay. Coming down is low courage and low humanness. Now, these are the toxic people who we are, definitely we need to avoid. They will gossip, they will talk negative, they have the habit of, being very, very rude. They will not have any kind of, probably a small sense of humanness also. Then we have low courage and high humanness, which is they are people pleasers. They say yes to everything, and then they will take it everything personally also. When we talk about any kind of a decision making, they seek validation because they are not confident in themselves, right? So too much of humanness also is very negative. Then we have certain idle people who is high courage and high humanness people, where with a courageous background they have humanness also. Okay, when we help each other with empathy, but we are not helping each other because we have a different motive towards it. That's a believing or building that kind of a trust. Again, this can be also built in the organization very, very easily. Okay. Now, what does an ER has to do, or how an ER can build teams with humanness and courage? These are the certain things, and one is develop your people. Again, there are it has been discussed. Care consistently, because you need to be very, very focused enough where the care is required. Be a source of inspiration. Walk, talk, and practice what you need to actually make the organization follow. Then listen actively, be present in the moment. Okay, don't be everywhere. Encourage courage, promote authenticity, practice candor, be passionate about the team, then walk the talk, lead with emotional intelligence, and display competence. These are the certain characters which we can actually make everybody follow. Okay. Then we have the next point over here in terms of skill is that it is very important to work with a lawyer. Next slide, Siddharth. Now, when we work with a lawyer, okay, the lawyer basically gives you the insight of what are the labor laws, what are the state laws, and whether we have any kind of specific HR organizational laws or not. Because they will guide you in terms of these. This is very important if somebody is working in a manufacturing company where these unions and workers and laborers are involved. Okay. Other than labor manufacturing, if you have certain big IT company, FMCG companies, again, this kind of legal regulations will be there. So again, if you want a quick decision making, quick solution to it, when you have an experience working with lawyers, you have experience in basically having a kind of solution understanding, because these are all in your tips. Okay. Then we have practice effective communication and conflict resolution. Conflicts are inevitable even in the most harmonious environment, but how they are managed can significantly impact the overall workplace atmosphere and employee satisfaction. And effective communication helps in understanding the underlying issues. Okay, so this is very, very important. So understanding the conflict. Foster empathy, explain why certain decisions are made. Okay, because with just giving that solution or giving that decision is not important, but why the decision has been made, that is also important, because this gives the other person, the employee, that okay, because of these certain things, this decision was made. So next time the solution, the reason will be taken care more than the decision. Okay. Then we have de-escalate tensions. It is not important to actually discuss tensions and problems to everybody. It is at the ER level only. It is definitely discussed. Okay. Last and not the least, we have that active listening can affirm employees' feelings and perspectives, making them heard and valued. Solution-oriented approach is important. Employees are not wrong, but situation is problematic. Two different things. Encourage constructive feedback and find a solution that respects everyone's interest. These three things are very, very important in in any of the ERs. So that last slide. And then we have effective conflict resolution not only resolves the immediate issue, but also builds trust, sets a precedent for fairness, and ultimately strengthens employee relations. Right? So this is the end of my webinar. The only thing that I want to end over here is being in the Department of Employee Relation, the only thing that is required is listen, communicate, and encourage people to grow and nothing else. You will actually make the environment positive. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the insightful presentation, ma'am. I'm sure the audience has, taken this on a positive way, and this might have also cleared their questions to an extent. But how about we spend a quick 5 to 10 minutes, if that's okay with you, to see if there's any queries?
Sure, no
Yeah.
problem.
So, audience, this space is open for you for any kind of queries there is. And I think we will also attend the Q&A that has been mentioned on chat. We will take that up first. But before we get to this, I would like to launch one poll for all of you. Now, I hope you're able to see this on your screen. What initiatives would you like to see implemented to improve employer-employee relationships in your workplace? Please note this is a multiple choice question. It is not restricted to one only. Okay. Audience, on a side note, those of you who are interested to directly interact with our speaker, I'll be able to do that. I think Miss Vanishri, would you like to interact since you had asked me in the beginning of the session? I'll be able to do that right now if you're interested, that is. Okay, I don't think she's around. She's not around. Okay. All right. Anyone else would like to directly interact with our speaker? You can raise your hand and I'll be able to unmute and you'll be able to talk to her directly. Okay. All right. Not bad. I think we've got a pretty good responses on the poll as well. Let me just end the poll and I'll just share the results to this. I hope all of you are able to see this. Okay. So as we can see, I think regular feedback sessions is chart topping over here, followed by employer recognition. Okay. Employer recognition and team building has the same weightage over here. And lastly, there is flexible work arrangements. Okay.
But then that's a problem. Flexible work arrangements, then there is an issue that why people are not coming to the office, why they are preferring the outside. So it's again a situation. Yes, of course, I also agree with regular feedback sessions because with the regular feedback sessions, because people are taking the term feedback in a very negative way. If they take it in a very positive sense, it will be a mark of growth oriented feedback sessions.
Right, ma'am. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I don't think there's anyone who's wanting to directly interact, but I will leave that open for another few minutes. How about we quickly attend the questions on the Q&A, ma'am, if that's okay with you? I think first question from Mr. Ashok Tirupati. Are there any initiatives or programs in place to promote teamwork and collaboration among different departments or teams?
As I said in the beginning itself, so there are a lot of initiatives and programs, but as I said that I cannot give you any specific pointers to it because every industry, every department, or every organization will have a different understanding towards it. You as an HR, this is the role, okay, this is the research work. So what are all required, what is there, in the organization, and what can be applied towards it. And if you actually go ahead and, do a Google also, you will get a lot of programs towards it.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Ashok. All There's one other question. Can you provide examples of how the organization promotes a sense of belonging and inclusivity among employees?
It's teamwork.
Yeah,
There's
I think
nothing
that's,
but,
yeah,
yeah, teamwork.
yeah, that's a straightforward answer for sure.
Mhm.
Okay, can you describe the organization's approach to compensation and benefits for employees?
I've already
I think this
discussed
is
that.
answered already. Yeah, taken care of. Okay. Yeah, and Mr. Sutap, Mr. Mukherjee, I think this will be, we will share the recording. We'll share the recording. We'll also give you the deck in PDF and the recording in your post-webinar mailer. You'll receive that for sure. Okay. Any further questions? We generally have one or two of them who ask direct queries to our speaker. I will still leave that open. If there's anyone, you can use the raise your hand feature or simply type yes. I'll be able to unmute you to interact with our speaker. Okay, there's a question from Mr. Mahesh. Despite performing well, proper remuneration is not considered. Looks like there is discrimination. It is difficult to work properly. Okay.
So is this an HR who is talking or an employee who is talking?
Yeah, okay. No, that is quite the question. Yeah, we'll have to know that for sure. Mr. Mahesh?
So if an employee is actually talking, then the HR is not playing the right role. See, again, to answer this question, who has, of course, every employee will say that I am performing well. But are you getting a constant, feedback in terms of that you're performing well? And if you have, and if you had an interaction with your business leader and plus your management, then I would say then it has to be a proper one-on-one discussion with the management plus your business leader to make them understand that you're performing well. Probably they will give you a feedback that why your remuneration is not increased or it is not at par. Okay, there's
Okay.
another
Yeah.
question
It's
that
on the
is
chat.
there. Yeah, so can you explain about importance of diversity and inclusion? Definitely, the importance is that if you have different kind of people coming from different background and experiences, it is very important to get into one department or one team, because with experience, with different experiences, you will get to understand what is the solution, and you will understand where is the gap. Because if there is one background people, one understanding, one thinking, then the thought process is only one road. If you have different roads to actually understand and take a research on it and inputs on it, you'll get a good solution towards it. So I will definitely go with diversity, and diversity in terms of age groups as well. So you can have Gen Zs, millennials, and the people like us also, middle age, then older people, everybody. So it's a different thing. You get involved.
Okay. Okay. Any further? Okay. All right. I think that's answered. Any further questions? Okay. Looks like we don't have any further questions, ma'am. So I think on that note, we will call off the session for today. Once again, thank you so much for the time and efforts on this session, ma'am. And
Thank you.
I'll also have to thank the audience. I know this is almost like a long weekend, right? In fact, I didn't realize that. I later realized that it is almost like a long weekend for a bunch of them, it being Good Friday tomorrow, and a bunch of organizations must have declared an off for tomorrow, right? Uh, having made time for that, the audience, I thank all of you, and I hope this has been an insightful session for all of you. And thank you all for the interactions made as well today. It was engaging, and as mentioned, I will share the presentation, the deck, our recording, and you will also receive a call from our team, the ones who've shown interest for a demo of our solution. We will reach out to you in the next 1 or 2 working days. So on that note, I will end the session for today. Thank you all. And once again, a special thanks to our speaker, Ms. Navina. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
And
Siddharth. Thank you so much.
thank you. And have a very good evening, all of you. Thank you all.